Session 42, The Last Light of Veyrun, as told by Misty, though not in voice nor breath, but in flickering flame and aching memory. I wasn't there when they left, but I remember the sound of their boots. I always do. It was still dark, the moon thin as a crack in glass. Larry walked with a purpose carved into her bones. She carried something more than steel or parchment, something older, something aching. The others followed. Chal with his silent grace, Henrik murmuring old prayers to a god he hoped was still listening, Laura wrapped in thought and magic, and Trug, solid, sorrowful, and ready for war. They headed east, toward the Veiled Ravine, a place swallowed by earth and silence during the War of Dimming Stars. A chapel once raised to Amriel lies buried there, along with her forgotten saint. I never saw it, but I feel the pull of it even now. They say the fog met them first. Unnatural, whispering. Not with words, but with reminders. The kind of grief that seeps under your skin and makes you wonder who you left behind. Laura heard her father's voice. Henrik heard his brother's. Larry, I think she heard herself. They crossed the Wildmere Hills into the Broken Vale, a place where time and stone collapsed together. The chapel waited, half swallowed by stone, moonlight clinging to its shattered dome like a final breath. Inside it remembered. Statues of Amriel wept dust. Shadows wore faces that might once have sung hymns. And beneath the altar burned the last light of St. Lethriel, the one Amriel's silence tried to erase. But silence never lasts, not truly. Something stirred in that sanctum. A spirit forged from grief, bound in rage, the grieving flame. It once prayed at that altar, once begged for salvation. When no answer came, it became one. It called out to Lari by name. It knew her, knew the words she had once transcribed, visions struck from every scroll. It wanted her to break, but she didn't. The fight shook the chapel. Trug stood like a wall between the fallen and the fire. Henrik poured divine light into the wounds of the world. Laura's magic shimmered like moonlight turned to blade. Chal moved like a shadow in reverse, striking through sorrow with clarity. And Lari called the saint's name aloud. Lethriel, not a whisper, not a question, a declaration, and the relic answered. Light poured through the broken dome. The grieving flame screamed, not in anger, but in something close to release. It burned, then faded, then was gone. They didn't know I watched them kneel in the silence that followed, didn't feel the way the world shifted, but I did. I felt it. They left behind prayers and fire, set a new brazier alight with silver flame. The relic was quiet now, like it had finally found peace. I wonder what that feels like. On the road home, they didn't talk much. The grief had loosened its grip, but it hadn't vanished. Chal found a pup in the snow, left behind, like me. He carried it wrapped in his cloak. Trug fed it when no one looked. Laura whispered dreams she didn't believe in. Henrik walked close to Lari, who now bore a weapon she hadn't brought. A mace, wrapped in moonlight, born of purpose, born of Amriel. They returned to Old Arua just as morning touched the sky. Frost bit at the stone, but the tavern lights were still warm. They lit a candle at the shrine, my shrine. I saw them. I see everything. But I am still here, still bound, still waiting. And though they do not hear me, though the thing that holds me still gnaws at what I once was, I felt something shift. Maybe that chapel's light reached farther than they know. Maybe it reached me.